All right, guys, this is our last skill that we're going to review with slope-intercept form. There are two parts to this, so today and tomorrow you'll learn a little bit about how to use this slope-intercept form. All right, so let's dive in. The first thing we want to do is just remember how to use a table when we have a linear equation. So our linear equation is this guy right here. That's our linear equation. Linear just means that it makes a line. So if I graph that equation, I'm going to make a straight line. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we've already got x values chosen. And so I'm going to plug in for each of my x values. I'm going to create my equation, -3 times -1 minus 4. So notice I just took my expression here, -3x minus 4. So this is -3 times whatever the x value is. So for my first x value, -1, I plugged it in. -3 times -1 is +3. +3 minus 4 is -1. All right, so then we've got -3 times 0 minus 4. -3 times 0 is 0, minus 4 is -4. And then I've got -3 times 1 minus 4. -3 times 1 is -3. -3 minus 4 is going to give us -7. Okay, so then remember, these are giving us ordered pairs. You don't have to write this part, but just to help you remember so that you can see this. This is giving me an ordered pair of -1, -1. This is a ordered pair of 0, -4. And this is an ordered pair of 1, -7. All right, so let's graph these points. -1, -1 is going to be right here. 0, -4 is going to be right here. And 1, -7 is going to be right here on the edge of our graph. Okay, so I have my nice straight line, which clearly I cannot draw a straight line. And then there's two questions. First of all, what is the slope of this line? So I'm going to grab a different color here. And I can choose, remember, I can choose any 2 points to figure out the slope, right? And I could also just use my numbers and use my formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or I could just count. So I'm going to count. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So this is 1, 2, 3 down, so -3 and 1 over. All right, so that means my slope is -3 over 1, or just -3. And then where does the line cross the y-axis? So here's the y-axis, right? Remember, the y-axis is the line that goes up and down on the graph. And so we look to see, where does our line connect at the y-axis? And it's right here at -4. All right, great, good job. Let's do another one, just for practice, one more. So we have our expression of our equation of y equals 2x minus 3. So instead of 2 times x, it's 2 times -1 minus 3. 2 times -1 is -2, minus 3 is -5. 2 times 0 is 0, minus 3 is -3. And 2 times 1 minus 3, 2 times 1 is 2, minus 3 is -1. All right, so let's graph those points. -1, -5, 0, -3, and 1, -1. Great. What is the slope of the line? So again, I'm going to count. And in order to do that, I'm going to go up 2. So that's 2. My rise is 2. My run is 1. So my slope of my line is 2 over 1, or 2. And then my y-intercept, where it's crossing the y-axis, is right here at -3. That's where that line The line I drew is crossing the y-axis at -3. Okay. So guys, I want us to notice a couple of things. First of all, it asked what the slope of the line was, and we counted, and then we got to 2. And then it asked, where does your line cross the y-axis? And we got -3. All right, so then let's take a look at our formula here. And what do you notice? 2, right? Our slope of 2 is right here. And our y-axis is right here, -3. So we have this formula. It's called the slope-intercept form. And that formula looks like y equals mx plus b. That's a b. Poorly written b, but that's a b. All right, so we already know what m stands for. M represents the slope. All right, so the m is the slope. That's an arrow. So the m is the slope of the line. And the b is the y-intercept. It's where you begin. I always think of it as begin because it's a B, and it's where the line hits the y-axis. Okay, so it's where the line hits the y-axis. So the m, the number in front of the x, is always your slope. It's your rise over your run. And then your b is your y-intercept. So now I'm going to show you how to use this formula. We can actually graph a line so much faster than using those tables. So let's jump into that. Let's take a look. All right, so for this first equation, remember our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so it's asking what is m and what is b? Well, the m is the slope, and it's always the number in front of x. So what number is in front of x? Well, this time it's a fraction. The rise is 1, the run is 4, so our slope is 1/4. And then it wants to know what is the b? What is the y-intercept? And in this case, it's 3. It's a +3 because it says +3. So now I'm going to show you how to graph. So the first thing is graph the b on the y-axis. All right, so we're going to graph that b on the y-axis. So I'm going to go on the y-axis, I'm just going to go up to 3 and make a point. That's where I begin. I begin by graphing the b on the y-axis. All right, so now from that point, count your slope. To make another point. And then number 3 will be to repeat. Okay, so from my b, I'm going to graph my slope. So my slope is 1/4. So from my b, right here, I'm going to rise 1, run 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here is another point. So rise 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 1 point. I'm going to do it again. It says repeat. So now I go up 1, 1, 2, 3. Oops, and that one would take me off the graph. It would be approximately right there. But what I'm going to do instead is just go reverse. So from my B, I'll go down 1, left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, once I have 3 points, I can graph my line. That's all I need, 3 points. And that's my line. I don't have to use my table. All right, let's try another. Okay, so remember that formula, y equals mx plus b. So m is always that letter, m is always that number in front of the x. So there's my m, there's my m. It's the number in front of the x. So m, -4. And then my b is always whatever the sign is in front plus that letter. So this one is a -3. So my b, oops, that's not what I wanted. My b is going to be a -3. Okay, so remember step 1, begin with b. Okay, that just means I graph the b on the y-axis. So -3 just means I go down 3 on the y-axis and make a point. Use the slope to make a point. All right, so from my b, I'm going to use my slope to make a point. Now remember, if your slope is a whole number, you can turn any whole number into a fraction by simply putting it over 1. So that means my rise is -4, my run is 1. So it means I'm going to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I run 1. Now I can't do that again, and I want to try to get 3 points. So I'm just going to do the reverse. From my B, I'm going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and run 1 to the left. And that's it. All done. Okay, let's try another. So the m is always the number in front of the x. My m, my slope, is -3/2. And then my b is my y-intercept, which is -1. All right, so I begin with my b. I graph my -1 on my y-intercept. And now from my y-intercept, I graph my slope. So I put my pencil on my y-intercept and I go down 3 because it's a negative. 1, 2, 3, and right 2. 1, 2. And then I could do it again. 1, 2, 3, right 2. That's it. All done. So it's a pretty quick process and just takes filling in your letters and then using those letters to help you graph your line. Okay, if you're feeling confident, I challenge you to go try these ones on your own and then come back and check your work. If you feel like you still need a little help, then that's fine too. Just stay here and do these two together with me. Okay, so we're always using this formula, y equals mx plus b. Now in this one, I don't have a number in front of my x. So what number goes there? Remember, if we have a variable, then there is a number in front of it. It's just that invisible number of 1. So in this case, our m is 1. And remember, anytime we have a whole number, we can make it into a fraction by just putting it over 1. So our slope will be 1/1. All right, and then our b is our number that's being added or subtracted, and you keep the sign with it. So it is a +2. Okay, so we begin with b. So I'm going to graph b on that y-axis. And I'm going to use my slope to make another point. So I'm going up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1. That's it. I've made 3 points. All done. All right, last one. Y equals mx plus b. M is the number in front of x. It's my slope. So the number in front of x is 2/3. And b is the number being added or subtracted, and you keep the sign with it. So b is a positive 7 since it's adding 7. All right, we begin with b. So I'm going to graph 7 on my y-axis. So that's way up here at the top. And then I have to use my slope. And remember, my slope is 2/3. So that means I'm going 2 up, 3 right, because it's a positive slope. So since I can't do that, because I can't go up any further, right? I'm out of space on my graph. I'm going to just do the opposite. So instead of going up, I'm going to go down. And instead of going right, I'm going to go left. All right, so 2 down. So from my B, I'm going to go 2 down. And then I'm going to go 3 left. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put a point right there. 3 left. And I'm going to do it again. 2 down, 3 left. And I made some points there, so I'm just going to erase those because that was just me counting. All right, that's it. That is my line. Okay, what I want you to do, if you have some time, is just grab that worksheet and just practice identifying the slope and the y-intercept in each equation. That's it, guys. Have a great one.